All right guys, in today's video we're going to be replacing the two map sensors on my 2015 Panigale 899. Now the reason I'm replacing them is because I've read through some forums and I've gotten the suggestion, or read the suggestion, that these may have gone bad and they may be actually causing some lurching, some sluggishness, and otherwise a not very smooth power delivery from your engine. Which makes sense if they are have gone bad. You're either going to be running rich or lean in one or both of the cylinders, and that could easily add or change how the power delivery happens throughout the power band. So I have already tested them in a way. So I let the bike idle, and one at a time I pulled or unplugged the sensor one at a time. Unplugged the rear cylinder sensor, and no noticeable change happened. So by that reasoning, I decided that probably means that sensor is bad. It should have altered the way that the engine was idling just by not having that sensor plugged in. The exact same thing happened when I unplugged the front sensor as well. So that either means that both of the sensors are bad, which is why I'm replacing both of them, or there's nothing wrong with either of them, but we're going to find out. I'm going to replace both of them so that I can eliminate both of those as variables and see how it goes. All right, so this should be pretty easy. I've already looked at it. It's only a couple bolts here. I ordered these, Germ Ban Auto Parts replacement sensors. They had good reviews. They were about $60 a piece on Amazon, which might have been part of a factor of why I decided to go ahead and do this now. Got it in 2 days, and the price isn't too bad for Ducati sensors. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is, one, remove your left side fairing. It's all these bolts here, a couple up here, and it'll pull right off. Very easy. The next thing you're going to want to locate, there's 3 screws. They have a little washer kind of deal like that as well, but they are, let's see, probably 4mm bolts, and they are going to be located right here, the top right, one here, top left, and then one here, bottom center, underneath your regulator. So go ahead and pull them out with a 4mm. Now that you have those 3 bolts out, you're going to have a little bit more wiggle room here with this side tray here. This right here is your sensor, the rear sensor. So it is only held on with this one bolt here. It is a 5mm. So get a long Allen key, stick it up through here, and back that out. Now this lock nut on here is somewhat locked in place, but it may fall out, so kind of be careful of that. Next, I'm just going to use my Allen key here. I'm going to push right here. That's pushing the sensor out. So now, the sensor is free, and you can kind of get to it back here. You want to push down on the connector that is plugged in and pull it out. So hopefully you can see that. So this is the connector, and then this is the sensor itself. You'll notice that it is tied into it's a tube, which is where it's getting its air pressure from, which is what it's measuring. All right, so now we are going to try to carefully move this is the existing sensor here. And I know it is going to be tough to see. All right, so here is the existing sensor. Going to try to make it so you guys can see that that sensor has this clamp on this tube here. It's an air line, and just looking at it, it looks like I'll be able to pop that off, pop that clamp off there with a pair of needle nose pliers. So actually, I think I'm going to use a small flathead screwdriver first. I think if you just there it goes. So just using the flathead screwdriver, you can release it. Now that I know you guys can't really see this, but the clamp itself has now slid out of the way. And with a little bit of, I'm rotating the sensor as I'm pulling it backwards. And there it goes. So there is the original OEM map sensor. So I'm going to grab the other one here. So this is my new one. So it looks identical. And I'm just going to stick it back there on the hose. Try to get it oriented in a similar way that it was before, because it's going to have to go back and bolt together the way it was. And then dragging the clamp back to where it needs to be on the hose. And I'm going to use some needle nose pliers this time. And I believe all I have to do is squeeze it tight and it's going to snap. So we're going to see. Ready? That was a good snap. Excellent. So that one is connected. I just need to plug it in, which we know the plug is still right back here. We'll see, it'll click in. All right, that clicked in nice. And now from the back side here, you want to line that round tab up that slides right through this channel and push it through, just like that. Excellent. So now we're going to be putting our bolt back in. I always put a little dab of blue Loctite on everything. Might not be entirely necessary, but well, probably isn't necessary because this is a lock nut, but with as much as these bikes vibrate and rattle, I don't think a little extra Loctite will hurt anything. So just feed that up there. Nice and slow. And snug it up. So that one is in. Super easy. So the next one is right here. Of course, I've got a bundle of wires here. This goes to my GoPro. So I'm going to use that 5mm with the long extension on it and come down from the top this time to pull out that bolt. It's loosened up. Let's see if I can grab it here. I'm going to use the needle nose pliers to grab it. Got it there. Now, sensor's loose, so I can unplug this one just like the rear one. It's push down on this piece here on the back and pull out. Now the sensor's unplugged. Grab my small flathead screwdriver and I'm just going to stick it here in the one end of this pipe clamp, little tube clamp. And there it goes. So that clamp is now loose. And I should be able to rotate and pull the second OEM sensor off. All right, so I got the new one, identical to the other one. There's no difference between the front one or the rear sensor. I'm just going to, like before, stick it down into the sensing tube. Want to make sure that I've got this one oriented correctly so that bolt hole will line up. That looks good. And now it's a little bit more congested on this one, but I'm going to do the same thing. Slide the clamp up right here over the tube, and then using those pliers, just squeeze till you hear a snap. It's perfect. Another little dab of Loctite here on this bolt. And then I think I'm actually gonna probably hold it with the pliers to get it in place. So it just needs to go in the hole here of the sensor. And that dropped in. Grab my long 5mm. That is good. You definitely want to be sure not to scratch your paint here. That would be real easy to scratch it with that long Allen key. So now we've got that sensor in. Going to go ahead and plug this one back. And that is in. And now we can go ahead and start putting the other screws here. A little dab of Loctite. This is a 4mm. I like to use just the Allen key here for these to get it started, versus starting it with the little screw gun. A little bit of Loctite. There we go. Now this last one just so happened came out with the I don't even know what that's called. It's not quite a washer, but it's a washer and a spacer together. So that is pretty much it. I'm just going to tuck some of these wires back in where they belong. keep them out of the way. But other than putting the side fairing back on, that's the full install. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the lift down here, and I'll start it up, see if it sounds any different. I don't know, cautiously optimistic that it might sound different, it might sound better. We'll see. So let's do that. All right, let's fire it up. We're in neutral. All right, runs normal, no check engine lights, nothing like that, so seems fine. I'm going to drop the bike completely off the lift. Actually, I'm going to throw the side fairing back on, then drop it off the lift and take it for a little spin and see if I notice anything just riding around the street. All right, so I just got back from about a 5-minute ride. Just rode a couple miles around some windy roads nearby, and gotta say, it felt smoother. But the real test will be this coming weekend. I will be at one of my local tracks, and gonna see how it feels. All right, final thoughts time. I did the track day after replacing these sensors, like I said I was going to do, and I have to say the improvement is huge. The engine runs so much smoother now. It may have taken a few laps to get the sensor to help actually start making changes on how the ECU was fueling the bike. But after a little while, maybe one session, the bike was feeling so much smoother. The engine and the power delivery is smooth and consistent all the way through the RPM, and it's no longer lurchy. I don't know how else to describe it of how it was before, but it was kind of lurchy through the mid RPMs, and in some cases it was also almost kind of like a light switch with the power, like on off, on off, on off, and that was really uncomfortable when you were leaned in on a turn. So this is I thought it was a characteristic of the L-Twin engine, being a twin. I knew it was not as smooth as an inline 4, for instance, so I was just trying to learn how to ride the bike the way that it was designed to be. Now I know the bike is capable of being much more smooth and consistent with the power, and that is all thanks to replacing these sensors. Now I will go back and remind you that I did not have any check engine lights before doing the sensor replacement. So I had no idea that the sensors were bad, other than kind of a hunch and kind of being unhappy with how the power delivery was. So doing a little research on the forums made me come across the idea of replacing these, and I'm glad that I did. For 60 bucks a piece is well worth the money, and the improvement in performance is well worth it. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with anybody that you know that is maybe experiencing some of these same issues on their Panigale. And with that, I will see you in the next one.